When I first started writing poetry, I did not think that I was going to publish a book at all. It was actually a very sacred thing that I did. It was very much my way of processing what I went through. And so it was kind of like writing in a diary and having your own private thoughts in a journal. I was scared to share my poetry with anyone because I was scared of what people would think. And as I got older and used it more as a processing tool and more comfortable with myself, I realized that there could be other people who would benefit from hearing my words. My name is Jordana. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist in the daytime, but in my free time, I love to write poetry. About 4 years ago, I actually put it on Twitter, like in the next 5 years, I'm gonna publish my poetry, and didn't really think about it. I just was like, I'm just gonna put this out there for the world. And I did it within 5 years. And so my main goal in publishing my poetry again was to just give people a voice and to also show people my own healing journey, and hopefully they're inspired.
I follow Christ because in a world full of brokenness and pain, He is the only being that remains the same. He is the only being that can bring peace and serenity. I follow Christ because when I want to give up, His word revives my spirit. His word encourages me to persevere.
My faith played a huge part in my poetry. One, when I got into poetry, it was in no way related to God. I kind of just did it as a hobby. And then as life kind of took its toll with family issues and heartbreaks, it became my way of processing and kind of like a prayer. I've always associated my poetry kind of like David in the Psalms and being vulnerable, whether it was negative emotions or it was positive emotions, just putting it all out on the table and being raw before God, knowing that God loves me despite all the negative things I may think or feel, that I can be safe with God. And so the process of writing my poetry was really a process of me getting drawn closer to God, even if I didn't feel close to Him when I started writing on the page.
If only I was heaven, I would know my destiny, not wandering aimlessly what the future has in store for me. I would know my fate, not learn from my mistakes. No more troubles, no more sorrow. Life would seem like a better place.
My poems are not, a lot of them are not nice about what I've been through and who I've interacted with. With the naked eye, if you read the book, you probably think that me and my dad are no longer cool, but that's very far from the truth. Me and my dad are in a great place. And so just to give those who have not read it a little bit of information, me and my dad had a pretty tumultuous relationship when I was growing up, and the first chapter is entitled Father, which goes into a lot of the poems I wrote during the time when me and my dad were not close. And then you fast forward into the Hope chapter, and there's a poem on forgiveness, and it talks about the process of re-forgiving. And I think me and my dad, both of us, have had to go through that process of forgiving one another over and over again as things have happened. And now we're in a much better place. We're super close. And the book is actually dedicated to my dad.
In my days when I follow the wrong path, in my days when I fall short, His love for me is never greater nor less. His love is consistent.
I hope that this book will give other people a voice to, one, be inspired to put out their own passion projects. Nothing can get in your way when God is number one, but also to have words to articulate what they're experiencing. I just look forward to what God has in store. I feel like this chapter is done, and maybe down the line, a new book will kind of be inspired through God. I don't know. I don't have necessarily any plans to put out a new book, but I feel like the future is very bright. A lot of the difficult things I write about in the book no longer have a grip on me because I've been able to move past it, and that's really exciting. But I just hope to continue on this path of healing, continue writing poetry, whether it's for pleasure or for a book, and hopefully, who knows, I'll just wait for God to show me what He wants next. The book, It's Always Darkest Before the Dawn, is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Books A Million.